Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stage Door Show. I'm Dave Hondell. Tonight, I have a talented actor who started his career on the iconic show Beverly Hills 90210. And he has a long, successful career since then, and he has a new work out that we want to talk to him about. So let's bring him in right now. So Kevin O'Sullivan, welcome.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate this.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And, I talked about some new work, but I want to start where it kind of began. And, as I understand, you were born in Los Angeles, but then you grew up in Maryland. Mm-hmm. So I guess how did that work out? Because I know a lot of the roles were at that time in L.A. So did you move out to L.A. as when you were younger, or how did that I guess that journey start for you?
Yeah. No, my mom and dad. My mom went to USC, University of Southern California.
Okay.
My dad went to UCLA. Big rivals in Los Angeles for colleges,
for sure.
Universities. They met on a blind date, and they got married. They tried to have kids. They couldn't, so they adopted me. And suddenly, then they had 4 children. So it all worked out well. But we moved out to Maryland from Los Angeles back in 1969. My dad was a federal contractor. And I went to school in Potomac, Maryland, surrounded by Sugar Ray Leonard and Darren Stars and all these very wealthy people. But my parents made us live a very humble life out there, and went to high school. Once I graduated high school, I dabbled a little bit in some acting classes in Maryland, and then I went right out to LA and got myself, an opportunity with the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. At this time, it was in Pasadena, California.
Sure.
Summer course over there, and then kind of lined up some people that were interested in me, such as an agent, and then kind of got some start with 90210 back in 1989. I'm dating myself here.
Well, I graduated in 87, and that was one of the reason I was so attached to that show is because Jason Priestley's character, his family was from Minnesota, which is where I grew up. And so, to have that storyline, was kind of cool. So we all kind of attached ourselves to that show. And so I really did enjoy that show. But, speaking of that, because I always liked the 80s and the 90s, and, to me that's the best time for music and television and so forth. But there was only a few networks back then, and for you, I mean, to get a gig like that, to start out at the very top like that and be on a show like that and get that exposure, for an actor, a young actor, that had to have been just thrilling, first of all. And second of all, what was that experience like? Because I think it might be unlike what most people think it is.
Well, yeah, that's a great statement. So it's a small part that I have in the pilot episode called Class of Beverly Hills. And when I landed an agent, one of my first auditions was for this pilot. And so I read for the casting director, Joanna Ray, at the time. And then while I was in the office, I was with Luke Perry. He was sitting right next to me. And we knew each other when we tested for a soap opera called Loving on ABC.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, you get the role of Ned Bates. I lost. But I tested. I got some good experience on screen testing for ABC. And so we were chatting, in the office. And I read for Joanna. Luke and I kind of exchanged phone numbers and everything like that. And a month later, I got called into Aaron Spelling's office with Leonard Goldberg, his partner, and read for Mr. Spelling and Mr. Goldberg. And they said, and the part that I was reading for was Jason Priestley's part, but I wasn't going to get that. It was just like basically
but
a blind
what an opportunity, though. Wow.
Yeah, they were just pretty much giving Mr. Spelling said, I'm going to get you your feet wet in this business. You have an opportunity to join the unions with this. You're going to be lunch boy. So you have a few lines, kind of set everything up.
Sure.
It'll be one of the first few scenes of the pilot episode. And it's going to be on this fledgling network called Fox Network.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I shot 3 days on the show. One during the daytime when Jason Priestley's kind of on his first day of school. And then about 3 weeks later, I got picked back up for 2 more days of nighttime scenes with Ian Ziering and Brian Austin Green in a pretty much a dramatic scene where Ian Ziering's character is drunk and Brian Austin Green, who doesn't drive, has to save the day.
Right.
Involved in kind of securing the keys and making sure that there's no danger with drunk driving. And the cast and crew were great. I learned so much from them. And a year later, it's on, the brand new network, Fox.
Oh yeah.
And it helped me book a lot of commercials
Yeah.
and kind of gave me a momentum into the business that I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't have that opportunity through Mr. Spelling and Mr. Goldberg. And
Yeah.
oddly enough, Darren Star, who wrote the pilot and obviously 90210, he grew up in Potomac, Maryland, where I grew up, but we never knew each other. But he
Yeah, but
lived
you had
down the
that
street.
connection.
Yeah, it's really weird. So that's a little bit about, my background with 90210, and it's how I got my start.
Well, and also Days of Our Lives, it's another television mainstay. And, just being on a soap opera, because what I'm told is soap operas move very quickly and you have very little time to learn your lines and you got to say them right the first or second time before they move on. So is that the case? And also, what was your experience like on Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, you're right on track. So great experience with Days of Our Lives, but it was scary. The casting director, Dora Saba, she was kind of took a keen eye to me, and she had me read for a number of different roles throughout the years and screen test. Didn't get anything, and then suddenly I landed this opportunity for a character and a storyline for a number of episodes. But yeah, you have basically, two takes, maybe one take to really nail it. There's no coverage shot. It's right. You're shooting it right then and there. You got to learn your lines. And one of the stars of the show, really, he could tell how nervous I was. Drake Hogestyn, who played John Black, great actor. He saw how nervous I was on my first day. I was in the hair and makeup room getting made up, and I had like 18, 19 pages of dialogue, and I was freaking out.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
so he took me aside, kind of gave
Yeah.
me some words of advice. I knew my dialogue, but he just had to settle me down. And he was very gracious to me, and nothing but the best, experiences on Days of Our Lives. And it's a great training ground for learning to be under pressure, and it's scary. And I will say, soap opera actors working on soap operas, they're the best.
Yeah.
They really know how to perform
Yeah.
at that moment and not dry up. And it's I don't know how they do it all the time, but it was great work.
You're not the first person to say that to me on these that have been people that have been on several soap operas say the same thing. They said
Mhm.
it's probably their best experience acting. Everybody just seemed to be like a family on set.
Yeah.
So it's been several years now. Let's fast forward to now post COVID, because I know that COVID has changed the business dramatically in several different aspects. We've had a strike since COVID, and there's been a lot going on with the business. So, in your years of experience, how do you see the business today? Do you feel that it's that COVID we've kind of come back from the strike and COVID, or do you feel we still have room to grow in the business where people are getting jobs back? Do you think AI is taking jobs away? I mean, how do you look at the business right now from your aspect, from being a working actor? I mean, how do you see the business right now?
Gosh, well, I will say since the pandemic, it's no longer a requirement, generally speaking, to live in Los Angeles or New York City. You can do
Yeah,
your auditions. I mean, I do my auditions. I just wrapped two of them before
yeah,
going on the podcast here. I just do them in my basement with a professional lighting and everything like that. So you have to get to Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta or Vancouver or when you book, if I'm fortunate enough to. But other than that, I just audition, in the mid-Atlantic states
right,
where I live. Um, I have concerns about AI. I have concerns about post strikes because the studios, the mainstream marketplace, it's really harder to get that type of work.
sure,
I think the studios are really kind of like looking for productions overseas, and Hollywood's just changed. Los Angeles has changed. I do most of my work in Los Angeles in independent films and in this new media called vertical miniseries. But I have my concerns with what's happening with the networks, and it's just tougher for someone like me to book work on NBC and Fox and some of these streaming services. The competition's so tough. but it's exciting, and I love grinding it out.
You mentioned vertical. I wanted to get to that as well. Vertical series. Talk to our listeners. What is a vertical series? And I know the popularity of them is kind of blowing up right now. So, what is that, and what kind of work have you been doing with the vertical
Yeah.
miniseries?
All right. So I got started in vertical miniseries working on a horror film, and this great director who I'm working with on a film called Unveiling Shadow, uh, she, she got me started into it as she was an assistant director, and I worked on my first one in 2024 in New York City. A few lines, day player role. They're shot vertically in a 9:16 aspect for viewing on smartphones.
Oh, okay.
Just like soap operas, like Days
Hmm.
of Our Lives, Young and the Restless, Bold and Beautiful, General Hospital, and the others. It's fast paced. It's very, very intense. You get like two times to get your mark and your lines down. You're working 12-hour days. You're working from one scene to the next. They're long days. It's pretty intense, but it's like a family, just like a soap opera is. But because they're shot vertically on a smartphone, you got as an actor, you've got to watch your movements. You've got to be pretty still. You can't be moving around. I've learned
Yeah.
not to say dialogue while I'm walking. So when
Yeah.
I'm walking to a character or into a scene, I'm not talking. You have to stop and then deliver your lines. But verticals, I've done that now 27, I think, of them now.
Yeah.
From lead villains, I play a lot of villains in these things, to major supporting and then smaller supporting roles. So I'm all over the place. In fact, I have four verticals right now in post-production with Drama Box, but they are keeping me very, very busy. Millions of people have watched these series, and it's a great training ground, very melodramatic. So you're amping up your acting, your performances, but you still need to be true and grounded. But it's very melodramatic. I love doing them. And when I started in 2024 and 2025, people were poo-pooing them.
Yeah.
Now everybody, a lot of people want to get into it now, and
Yes, you're not the first person to say that they've been in these verticals. So I'm excited to just start watching these myself. There's one called Choleric. Is that a vertical?
no, that's actually an independent
It's
film.
not. Okay, I want to talk
Yeah.
about that too,
Okay.
because I know this is a 2026. Is that been released yet? And if
No.
not, when is it about to come out? Is it soon?
So my understanding is the trailer is going to be released in March. So
Oh,
next
okay.
month we're talking in February here. So the trailer will be released in March, and then the film should be released sometime this year, 2026. But I don't know any of the details. It's going to go through a film festival run, and it's also being looked at by investors for feature film, potential feature film distribution. I play a very disturbed man who re-enters the life of a character, an actress who plays the character, Morgan Warren. She plays a former child star who's pressured into getting back into the business and doing a stunt that's dangerous. And then I re-enter into her life, and I'm very messed up in the head and very
Hmm.
dangerous. And the film is a thriller. It's greatly directed by Sebastian Fabris, who I've worked with on another film previously. And I'm excited about this, and we're hoping for great feedback.
So let me ask you, because I know that like many actors have families and kids, and when you play a role like that, first of all, there's got to be a lot of creating a backstory for this person, because I know this person's disturbed, but what made that person disturbed? So do you have a process you go through to try to create that, or is it given to you, I guess ahead of time to show what happened since this person was a child that kind of progressed throughout their lives to make them the way they are? But there's got to be some kind of redeeming quality to this person for you
Mhm.
to does that make sense? I mean, is
Yeah.
that something you guys go through?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. So with every
Yeah.
character that I play, whether it's a villain in a vertical to a disturbed individual in a film or whatever, you're right. There's always a redeeming quality to everybody. Um, I think it's a combination of both. The director, Sebastian Fabris, was key in really helping me understand what his vision for Choleric was, and what he wanted from me and what he wanted from the other actors, from Morgan Warren and the other supporting actors in Choleric. But then I also, work with him and create my own backstory that's still true to the film and to the character, but just kind of digs deeper into the dark
Sure.
images and things that I'm trying to envision when I'm in front of the camera. So it's a combination of both.
When your family watches the movies, what are their thoughts? Because obviously it's a movie, so what are their thoughts when they watch you?
So my wife and my daughter think it's a little crazy, especially on these verticals when they see me slapping people. So verticals can be very violent.
Yeah.
They have a tradition.
But why is verticals a certain genre? I mean, is that the reason they shoot it that way? Because it's more intense, or
Yeah, from verticals that came from, China, I believe.
okay,
And you know, th- th- those filmmakers like things very melodramatic. So
yeah,
that's where the slapping and the beating up and the terrible things that sometimes my characters in these verticals do.
yeah.
Um, when my wife and my daughter see these things, they just shake their heads. I mean, but they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, I mean, it's got you got to really get into the right place to get into that character. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think I always ask because a lot of times I say, oh, my kids don't even watch my stuff, or they love it, and so I get kind of different answers to that. But I think the preparation for your role in anything is really the most important thing. As long as you have the backstory and so forth. But you also won an award, Best Supporting Actor at the 2024 Egyptian American Film Festival in New York City. You had played a role of Officer John Nelson in a project called The Deal. So talk
Yeah.
about that project.
Thank you. So the deal was directed by McGregory Frederic, and they flew me out to Los Angeles, and my character opens up the film. I'm actually chasing after. I'm a Los Angeles Police Department officer in a car doing a high speed chase. They closed down 2 or 3 city blocks to shoot this thing. And I'm actually doing the stunt driving. So I actually, I've taken stunt driving classes and I'm certified. So I'm behind the wheel, the camera's on me, the number of different covered shots. I'm chasing after the bad guys in a high speed chase in Los Angeles, and it's a very uh, glitzy, glossy film. I'm only in the beginning, so I kind of set things up, and then the pretty actors and actresses then take over from there. But I'm thrilled and very grateful that for whatever reason, um, the Egyptian American Film Festival found that I did a good job, a solid job, I guess, in portraying this character. And my character was pretty straight laced, very Adam 12, if anyone remembers that TV show.
I do.
Okay.
I sure do. A
So
lot of
by
our
the book.
listeners might not, but I do.
Yeah, well, you and I probably are around the same age, I guess. But by the book, I'm by the book. But it was a fun show. McGregory Frederic did a great job in directing it. Best actors, Brett Colbert who's a rising star in this industry, is one of the leads, and I was just happy to be in that film, and win that award was just icing on the cake, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
In all your years in this business, obviously we have a lot of young artists that are listening right now, and one of the things that I like to get into with my guests that have been in the business for a long time is, some advice that you would have for somebody just getting started. Maybe something you wish you would have done differently yourself, or maybe something you've learned along the way that could really help somebody new just getting started. So what's the one main thing that you would say for somebody just getting started in the industry that you would strongly advise?
Well, there's so many, but I think what I've really embraced, and I think it could be done at any time during their career, whether it's beginning, middle, or when they're very mature. But if you can understand the craft, be yourself in front of the camera, be flexible for the directors and the clients and the producers and the other actors, create that chemistry, but also, very importantly, treat this business as a business. So be able to not only be a good actor, but also be able to market yourself when you have projects that are about to be released or been, awarded. Treat it like a business, because if you can do both things, act and create a business out of this, chances are you're going to find some pretty good success. So I would say treat this show business as a business if you can. I hope that
Yeah.
answered your question.
Oh, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I think a lot of people have glamour in their eyes. They see the red carpet shows, they see the pre-shows to, the Golden Globes and the Grammys, the Oscars, and what they don't understand is the work that goes into it to get to that point, right? And also that it is a business, and a lot of times you're going to hear no before you hear yes, and so I think for the youngsters out there, you got to realize that it's something you got to stick with, and you could be very close to your dream and not realize it because you give up. So don't give up, and keep fighting the good fight. And if you do this long enough and you stick with it, I think, like you said, I mean, you're going to be successful, but treat it as a business for sure.
Amen. Yeah.
But the other thing is, I wanted to ask you, is there one thing that you haven't done yet? Out of all the acting you have done, is there one thing that you wish or you hope one day to do? Either a genre, more, stage acting, more, Broadway, film or TV. I mean, is there something that you're looking forward to eventually doing more of, or something you haven't done yet?
So I think that's a great question. I think it goes along with the stunts that I really like to do in front of the camera. I ride motorcycles. At my age, it's probably not a good idea to do, but I've been doing it for a number of years. I would love to play a character that actually is captured riding a motorcycle, maybe like a drone camera coming down on me. And
Sure.
That's something that, so very action oriented, is something I haven't done yet, other than from the deal where I'm chasing the bad guys in a LAPD car unit, patrol car. But I think if I could portray a character that is known for riding a motorcycle, whether he's a bad guy or a good guy or a combination of both, that would be something that has stuck in my mind. Wow, what an opportunity that would be for me. I would have a lot of fun.
Kevin, I just want one last question here, but when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind when it's all said and done, to your fans, to your family?
I think I'd like my legacy to be that, Kevin O'Sullivan is someone that enjoys telling stories, and trying to entertain people that might be having a hard time in life, get them to escape that distraction and embrace something that will be a good escape for them. Just someone who likes to tell stories and inspire people. If I can do something like that, and I'm not saying I have, but if I could do something like that and make that my legacy, that would be awesome. It's just to inspire people, entertain people, distract them from maybe the hardships that they're experiencing. That would be something that would be a legacy moment for me.
Well, that's awesome. I love that answer. Kevin O'Sullivan, I really appreciate your time today, and a lot of the stuff coming out. Choleric. Everybody check out the film festival circuit. Google Kevin O'Sullivan. You can Google him and see his work on either YouTube, IMDb. Check out just by Googling him, you can find out a lot about his work and his upcoming work as well. So just the best of luck to you, Kevin, and looking forward to having you back on the show someday. We can talk about some of the stuff that's just about to come out.
That would be awesome, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on your show.